Getting to your goal weight and looking better is something that will impact every single day of your life. People don't talk about this a lot, but losing unwanted pounds absolutely solves problems. That is just the reality of it. When you wake up in the morning every day and you just don't quite like the way that you look in your clothes, that is like a little paper cut that you are inflicting upon yourself every single day. It's affecting your self confidence. That is why I'm here today to share with you some tips that a lot of the people that seem effortlessly thin and effortlessly fit are just not saying out loud. I have been able to maintain my weight within roughly like a 10 to 15-pound range throughout the 20 years of my adulthood. And I'm going to share with you some strategies that have allowed me to do this in a way that does not feel restrictive. If you have been in the cycle of struggling with weight loss or maintaining your weight loss, let's end that. We need to break that cycle. I need you to know that you are worthy of existing in a body that you are happy with. And I want you to show up in the world as exactly who you think you are. This is part 2 of a video that I posted a little while ago, and I will link that down below. These are just other things that came to mind that were not at the forefront of my brain when I was recording that. And I wanted to put these out as well because I know that these tips will help someone. These are simple strategies that you can incorporate into your day to day life. While these strategies are simple, I do want you to be thinking about these as lifestyle changes. These are things that you want to be doing on a repeated basis. We're not talking about overnight quick fixes. Those are just not sustainable. That is not how the body works. We have to get real about how alcohol affects our metabolism. Your body cannot burn fat while it is processing alcohol, and it can take up to 72 hours to clear all the alcohol that you consume in one sitting out of your system completely. A lot of people don't want to hear this, but I'm going to keep saying it because I want all of us to be free from the disappointment of not looking our best. This is not a moral condemnation in any way, shape, or form. I used to drink. I started to cut back my drinking after I could no longer deny that my hangovers were so much more severe than my peers. That was an early indication to me that my body just does not metabolize or process alcohol as effectively as the average person in the population. I don't really miss it. This reduction is something that happened over a period of a couple of years. I really hated the way that I looked after drinking. My eyes would look super sunken in, and that was just not a fun reality to face the day after I was out partying or doing whatever I was doing. I started to connect the dots. I realized that alcohol dehydrates the body. So all of what I was seeing in my face was a result of that dehydration. On the flip side, I would wake up with this really nice ab definition. Although that was great in the moment, it was temporary and it was not worth the stress that I was putting my body through. Drinking alcohol, especially at night, leads to poorer quality and more disruptions to your sleeping patterns. When you don't get high quality sleep, all of your hunger cues are messed up. You are more likely to crave more unhealthy food the day after you are drinking when you find yourself in that recovery phase. When you drink alcohol, alcohol becomes the primary source of fuel for your body. What that means is that your body is going to prioritize processing and burning that alcohol before it can get to burning fats and carbs. While alcohol is being used as that primary source of fuel, all of those excess carbs and fats in your body are going to get stored as excess fat tissue on the body. This is not about shaming people for their choices. I literally do not care what other people decide to consume. I have even recently become the mixologist for my family, and you can see some videos on my page where I make different cocktails for different family gatherings. I give the people what they want. I want you to just be able to make a more informed decision and understand how alcohol affects your body, especially if you find yourself in a plateau or you are yo-yoing and you're bouncing between your goal weight. I am not here to be preachy. I am just here to make sure that we all have the best information so that we can make the most informed decisions for our bodies. If you are struggling with weight loss, this might be an area that you want to address and just become more mindful of your alcohol consumption over time. Another thing for you to consider is to take inventory of your environment to assess your exposure to external toxins. What I mean by this is becoming more aware of the fact that there are so many consumer products that are full of synthetic fragrances and other chemicals that disrupt our hormonal balance. Our hormones play such a key role in our body's ability to be able to get to a healthy weight and feel safe enough to do that. I know that there's been a huge trend of collecting high-end fragrances that has really seen a significant uptick on social media over the past couple of years. If you live in the US, I want you to know that these fragrance products contain so many chemicals that are known to be endocrine disruptors, even the most expensive stuff. So let's talk about endocrine disruptors and your endocrine system for just a moment. Our endocrine system is responsible for regulating all of our body's hormones. And as I mentioned, the health of this system and its ability to be able to function optimally is very, very tightly correlated to your ability to get to and maintain a healthy weight. When you think of all the fragrance, personal care, and cleaning products that we use on a day to day basis, you start to get a better feel for how much exposure we are getting to these chemicals. A disrupted endocrine system leads to hormonal imbalance, which leads to metabolic disruption, and that causes increased appetite, increased fat storage, and overall difficulty losing weight. So, lots of different impacts here. I've been cautious about this for a long time now because I was allergy tested when I was in high school and it came back that I was allergic to synthetic fragrances. This is something that has been true for my mom as well. We both get headaches when we're exposed to perfume or cologne. I've also gotten hives and experienced redness on my skin when I've tried to use perfume in the past. What you have to do to start to reduce your exposure to these hormone disrupting chemicals is to start to read the labels more carefully. The ingredients that you're looking for are going to be labeled as parfum or fragrance. Product manufacturers are not required to disclose what is contained within parfum or fragrance because that is considered a trade secret that is protected by IP laws. The US in particular allows so many chemicals to be used in consumer products that are banned in other countries. If you look at the list of banned chemicals, the US bans 11 chemicals from being used in cosmetics, and the European Union bans over 1,300 chemicals. So, vastly, vastly different. There are even a lot of baby products that contain these harmful chemicals. Most of the countries that have tighter regulations around what chemicals can be used in cosmetics are countries where they have universal health care. And for that reason, the government is more incentivized to create consumer protections because they are the ones that are going to be footing the medical bills for that part of the population that might be negatively impacted. Cleaning supplies are another category that contain a lot of these harmful chemicals. So it's not just fragrances that you spray on yourself, it is also makeup, hair care. Scented candles are another huge culprit. If you're really into candles, you are at an even greater risk of being impacted by these chemicals because the nature of candles means that we are burning them. That is something that is elevating the risk profile for you. I would encourage you to try swapping out those scented candles for things like incense and also high quality natural essential oils. By now, you might be picking up on this theme that hormones are a big focus area when it comes to losing and maintaining at a healthy weight. My next tip related to this is to get enough sunlight. We know that getting adequate sunlight goes a long way when it comes to hormonal regulation. There are tons of benefits. Getting enough sunlight is going to help promote that optimal hormone regulation, particularly with two of your hormones that are related to your feelings of hunger and satiety. Ghrelin and leptin are the key hormones that are at play here. Getting enough sunlight is also a metabolic booster because it promotes the production of vitamin D, and vitamin D is linked to having increased energy and a faster metabolism. We are not that different from plants in the fact that we get a lot of energy from the sun. And this is also important if you're someone that is physically active and you work out or you get a fair amount of movement in. The more you have this optimal energy level, the more you're going to be able to meet those movement and fitness goals. One of the other huge benefits of making sure that you get enough sunlight is that it helps regulate your body's circadian rhythm. This is a big one for me. If you are like me and you're one of those people that just has a hard time winding down at night, I'm going to encourage you to make sure that you are getting sunlight early in the day, optimally within an hour of waking, but no later than 10 a.m. And what that's going to do is help you balance out your sleep cues in the evening. So, again, sending those signals to your brain first thing in the morning is going to help you at night be in a position to where falling asleep will get easier for you over time. I've made morning walks a part of my routine, and I find that I am much more productive on the days where I get that walk in compared to the days that I don't. It's really like this spark of momentum to get my day going. And it's also a great time for me to just enjoy being outside in nature. And I have a lot of just peaceful, quiet ramp up into my day where I'm able to just process my thoughts and think about what I want to accomplish for the day. You also want to be making sure that you are taking high quality supplements. Supplements support your body's beauty. The modern day food supply is not nearly as nutrient dense as it was in the past. And part of this is because modern day farming practices have stripped the soil of a lot of key nutrients that we need. Certain nutrient deficiencies are extremely common these days. And according to a study that was conducted by Oregon State University, 94% of the US population is deficient in vitamin D. We've already talked about that key role of vitamin D when it comes to metabolism. 89% of the population is deficient in vitamin E, and about half of the population is deficient in magnesium, with a lot of other studies showing that magnesium deficiency is probably closer to somewhere in that 70% range. So, vast majority of Americans are deficient in a lot of key nutrients. When your body is lacking a lot of these key nutrients and vitamins, it cannot function optimally, and your metabolism is absolutely going to take a hit. I take a ton of supplements, including vitamin D and magnesium. If you want a more detailed video on all of the supplements that I take and why, leave a comment down below and I can make a separate video on that. One of my favorite herbal supplements for metabolic support is berberine. You might have heard this being referred to as nature's Ozempic in recent years, and that's because it regulates how the body metabolizes sugar. It has antibacterial properties that improve gut health. It reduces swelling and it also improves cardiovascular function. And all of these things support weight loss. If you're trying to figure out where you have nutrient deficiencies, I encourage you to get clinical testing done so that you can make some informed decisions about which supplements would help improve your health overall. And also just make sure that you're investing in quality supplements. So do your research to make sure that you are taking the good stuff. I've done a lot of different health related testing through a nutritionist that I trust and also through a doctor here in my local area. A lot of this testing can get covered through your insurance. So you might want to look into how you can get these expenses to qualify for coverage that way. This next one is something that you don't hear people talk about very often, and that is the importance of chewing. I'm a big fan of protein shakes, but sometimes I feel like I just don't feel satiated after I drink one. And I think that is because it does not require chewing. And the act of chewing plays this role in signaling to our brains that we are consuming food, and that triggers the release of hormones that help us feel satiated. What I've started to do is have just a small snack after I have my protein shake, something that does require chewing. That could be a handful of berries, or it could be just a small handful of these almond flour crackers that I really like if I want something salty or savory. Just this brief act of chewing cuts down on that peckishness that I was experiencing. So, this is something to consider if you also consume these health supporting liquids and find that you are still wanting to snack afterwards. I want to touch quickly on the importance of movement, and I'm using the term movement and not exercise or workout or the phrase going to the gym because I want you to understand that movement can take a lot of different forms. It does not have to be high intensity for it to benefit your body and support your metabolism. We know that the majority of weight loss and weight management comes down to the food that you are consuming. But as I mentioned before, even low intensity movement is going to support your overall wellness and your hormonal regulation and your energy levels as well. Never underestimate the power or the benefit of a 30 to 45-minute walk. Walking is my primary form of exercise. I do it almost every single day, very, very few exceptions. This is where I get my sun exposure and my quiet time in nature, which has a lot of mental benefits and helps to keep my stress levels regulated. I rarely do high intensity workouts because I am just not into that right now. If I am not walking, I will do a Pilates class maybe once every, I'd say 4 to 6 days, you'll see me in a Pilates class. I also enjoy hiking. I think whatever your form of movement is going to be, you need to do something that you like doing. It needs to be enjoyable for you in order for that to be a sustainable habit over time. My other tip is that I want you to start pulling yourself together every single day as a daily sign of respect for your body and for your beauty. You define what this looks like for you. Again, this is really about showing respect to yourself and for this body that is your vessel in this lifetime. For me, this is pretty quick and easy. I start by doing some basic skincare. I fill in my eyebrows and I usually apply some mascara. I don't tend to wear a ton of makeup just because I don't like the way that it feels on my skin, but getting the eye area in order, that is a big deal for me. I will also get dressed in something that is cute and comfortable, even if I don't have any plans to like leave my house or I know it's just going to be a really casual day. It just does something for my mental state when I pass mirrors throughout the day and I look decent compared to when I walk around looking sloppy. The purpose of this tip is to reinforce that you want to show yourself that you care about yourself. Improving your body really does come down to mindset, and showing yourself this daily act of respect has a lot more impact than you might think. My last tip here is to avoid eating big meals late in the day. This is a hill that I will die on for a number of reasons. One, heavy food later in the day is going to negatively impact your sleep because you're not giving your body enough buffer time to process that food before you're trying to shift it into resting mode. Late eating has also been linked to an increased risk for weight gain and obesity. You're more likely to experience indigestion if you are eating late, and that is because your body is releasing these enzymes and acids to process that food that you've consumed. And if you are then lying down horizontally, those acids and those enzymes can creep up your digestive tract and start to cause you physical pain, which is going to negatively impact your sleep on top of you, like literally just not feeling good. You're more likely to experience bloating from late night eating. And I would suggest that if you are eating late, to focus on shifting away from things that are very carb heavy. You'll get a lot more bloating with those carb heavy meals compared to ones that are higher in protein and fat. The human body tends to be much more effective and efficient at processing food earlier in the day. And this is especially true for carb processing. I love an early dinner reservation, and I tend to be finished with all of my food consumption by 6 or 7 p.m. at the latest. This is like north of 95% of the time true for me. Part of this is because I really cannot stand the feeling of being bloated when I am trying to go to sleep at night. It just does not work for me. The occasional late night social outing is not going to derail all of your progress. I just want you to be more mindful of this and use some discretion so that you can figure out where you can cut back on late in the day, high calorie food consumption where it makes sense for you to do so. Thanks for watching this far. Don't forget to subscribe and leave a comment if you have questions or if you have suggestions for future topics. Bye.